Hello everyone, welcome to Rat Radio. I'm Big Wizard, amateur content creator on Twitch and YouTube, and I'm joined with...
Jay Easy. I'm a casual gamer and kind of the sidekick to Big Wizard.
Yeah, we run Tarkov quite a bit. Pretty much there's a core group of 5 of us, and we are on as duos a lot, and we are started this Rat Radio as kind of a little podcast focusing on Tarkov, just in general about the game, our experiences with it, and all that entails. So if you have any questions or comments, if there's any topic you want us to hit, leave a comment, but we're going to go into a couple things. The first thing that this wipe has really been known for is the bunch of micro changes that have been happening lately. What I mean is the recipes are going nuts. Like, they're adding recipes, modifying recipes, changing what the hideout upgrades are. There's just so much random little things they're tinkering with. Every time you log in, it's almost different right now.
Kind of seems like it, yeah.
I personally love it. More recipes, the better, honestly. Because
I think it creates a more dynamic economy in the game.
yeah,
Things are kind of fluctuating now. I almost wish they would change it on somewhat of a regular basis. Maybe not like weekly, but
or like all of a sudden you log in and like, oh, you can make energy drink kvases, and like, what? Or like,
yeah,
the grenade case, I think, really like shocked everybody when they saw that, because all the other little ones you can make, like turning the gas analyzer into circuit boards, but that was cool. But when you see actually able to make a case, whether or not you value a grenade case, be able to see that though was like, what? That's a big deal.
I think the big controversial one is the violet keycard?
Yeah. Yep,
craft the violet keycard.
yeah, which
That'll,
totally changed the value of it. And granted, you still have to... Is that the last level of intelligence, I think, to do it?
I think so.
Yeah. And it's not like it's cheap to make, but now you can actually make it, so it's more than just, found in raid, millions of rubles worth of, stuff there, so... I think it's just really interesting now that when I get out of raid with my pile of rat crap, all the stuff that I've squirreled away, that now I can look and like, oh yeah, I can turn that and this into something else,
Yeah.
It's
Some of
extending
the barter trades too have...
Oh, the
like,
barter trades.
I was saving things for barter trades, and now it's like, oh, that trade's not even worth it anymore.
The
But then
ADAR,
there's other things that are like, oh, I can trade this for that now.
yeah. Yeah, barter trades. I've changed a bunch. I personally, some of them I'm a little sour on. The fact that it's now a two chainlets and a frickin' rechargeable battery for an ADAR. That's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of us were like hoarding rechargeable batteries just cause,
Yeah, I had a whole bunch of them, and then I sold them off, not realizing that I needed them for a task, and I need them for a task, and wish I hadn't sold them all.
Yeah.
I think only one of the ones I sold was found in raid, though. The rest I just vendored.
What was the didn't the 136 trade with the horse statues change to something else now too?
I'm not sure. I haven't done that trade a whole lot.
Well, they've been changing everything. It's nice that they're doing it. I think this is the time to do it. They don't change it now. Experiment with it. You're catching some people off guard, which is, so I'm not going to be as economically sound on ADARs. Not a terrible deal, I guess. A little annoying, but I'll live. But what was the fuel today though too? Was it the metal fuel can?
Yeah, they're up to almost to 200,000. I saw earlier.
And I think are they taken away from the Jaeger? I can't remember, or something like that.
I'm not sure.
Oh, you didn't know?
I know you can buy an empty one for like 12,000, but a full one's like 200.
Yeah. Before, the empty ones weren't even worth it, before you just vendored it back to Jaeger.
Now you buy them for the grenade case.
Yeah. So I'm all for the micro changes. I wish they would almost come in like batches though, instead of all of these little changes.
Yeah. I almost wish there was like a listing of it somewhere too. It's kind of cool finding like a sweet barter randomly, but on the other
Yeah.
hand, I think some things are just getting missed because nobody knows it changed and it was a
Yeah.
cracker before, so nobody's even looking at it.
And some of them, the new crafts are kind of like, is this really worth it? Like the one for the Kvass energy drink. I've made it a couple times. But that's because I'm trying to just continually to make things. But it's like 4 things of that crouton you can buy from Therapist and a bottle of water. And it's an alright energy drink. It's nothing
Mhm.
special. It is a multi-use one though, where you don't have to use the whole thing at once, which is nice.
Yep.
But it's nothing too crazy.
Yeah,
But
I know that. I haven't been crafting as much different stuff. I kind of stick with one craft now, just because some of them got so much more expensive.
yeah, what's kind of funny is I'm making, until Augmentin goes up in price, I've been just trying to make piles of meds like crazy.
I have been too. I've
Um,
been finding augmentin everywhere.
that too. Yeah, it's really
I
nice. I
have like
wonder if they
9 of them.
changed the spawn rate on it or something.
They must have.
Because at the end of last wipe, it got to the point where it grew to be more expensive than the Therapist, which was fine. But then Therapist would constantly run out. Because I think was it the sugar trade? I think you could get Palomeds for sugar from her. I think.
Maybe.
Yeah, because people and just Palomeds were good for everything on that freaking thing, that list.
Yep.
And so then they ended up being like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, all the way up to like 5, 6,000 over what therapists would sell it for. So like in the mid to high 20s. So right now, while it's around between 11 to 14, I've been snapping them up and using them. So
Yep. It's crazy how much stuff is fluctuating right now on the flea market.
yeah, like literally I'll look at something, I'm like, it's a little expensive. I'll go through a raid, come back, and it'll be down like 5K, you know?
Just weird stuff too, because like nails started high, and then I
Yep,
think it was like 2 days ago I was selling nails for like 21K, and then today they were like back up to 50K. It's like
absolute
it's kind
nuts.
of weird.
Yeah. Yeah, like I used to be able to make Magnum Buck last wipe and sell it, but I think was that a level 2 before? Because I can't remember. It seems like Magnum Buck is now just like everyone's got it, so it's barely worth
Yeah,
anything.
and nobody's running it anymore. Like last wipe, you could sell Magnum Buck anywhere from like 450 to like 650, and
Yeah, now it's
now
like
like it's
one,
200.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like
100 to
150,
200.
200.
Um, yeah,
And
it's
last wipe when we were buying Magnum Buck, it was like fairly late wipe.
yeah, sold it a bunch. I'm not sure where like I is it just easier to make? I mean, it's a blue gunpowder and matches. Was that?
Yeah,
I mean, it's not hard to make to begin with. So
yeah, I don't know.
so micro changes, good. Keep them coming.
I like them. Yep, I think it's interesting. I mean, when you go to the store in real life, sometimes the price of milk changes. It's kind of nice seeing that living economy a little bit, where
Yeah,
you'll log in one day and find a sweet deal, and yeah, I think it's good.
it is good. So let's just move along past those because that was just our like main topic that we've noticed. Things happening in Tarkov. So a little bit of some rat tips when going into a raid. You probably hear people say deploy with a plan. Like, don't just, oh, I'm going to customs. Don't just click go into customs, go in. Now, if you are like out of level 40, out of tasks, you're Mr. Chad going for PvP, this doesn't apply to you. This is rat radio time. So when you want to go into a raid and you need to deploy with a plan, the first step actually happens before you even hit what map you're going to go to. It starts with your gear.
Hmm.
You know, if you're just trying to get a task done, you need to kind of gauge what that task is. So marker tasks, okay? How many things we have to freaking mark in Tarkov? It's ridiculous. It's like all the tankers on customs, the ambulances on shorelines, and there's the UN vehicles. Like you're marking tons of stuff. Okay.
Yeah. And I actually like marker tasks just because you can throw them in your secure container. If you get to the spot, you get to it. If you don't, you don't. It's,
And you
it's a
don't
task
have
I'll
to get
pistol
out.
run sometimes. Yeah, and you don't have to get out. So I'll pistol run them
Yeah.
sometimes just because I play on a laptop sometimes when I can't get to my desktop. And on my laptop, I don't trust myself with good gear.
Yeah.
So I'll throw a pistol on and throw some markers in my gamma container, and I'll just go wander around maps marking stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, like I like marker quests. I think they're pretty good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them though.
Yeah. So besides gearing, so like yeah, you could put a pistol on or like some sort of cheap gun. Maybe take a shotgun with Magna Buck when you're doing a marker quest. Just something you don't care about. Like your goal is to get to the thing, mark it. You know, if it takes you 3 raids to mark 3 things, you still finished your task.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I'm solo, which doesn't happen too much anymore, I would always try to prioritize a suppressor if I could afford it. It makes a big difference.
For marker tasks,
No, just in general.
just in general.
Yeah. When I'm deploying by myself, try to suppress if I can.
I
That's
just got killed not 10 minutes ago because I wasn't suppressed.
yeah, making all that noise.
Yeah, I was firing a sniper rifle at a bunch of scavs and not hitting them because I was trying to do the Jaeger quest with no optic,
Yeah.
and yeah, made too much noise. Sniper came up behind me, and then it kind of became a race to see if I could finish my sniper or finish my scav kills first, or he finished me. And yeah, he got me before I got the last one.
Um, I guess my gear and armor doesn't change that much. Uh, I'm always taking ears now. I could see you
Yeah,
not taking ears if you're like in a 5-man.
I think
You
we
know?
covered it a little bit in the last episode, but yeah, ears are a big deal this wipe. I feel like for us, last wipe we were kind of like, oh, they're expensive, we don't need them. This wipe, it's hard to play without them,
Yeah.
unless like you said you're in a 5-man, because then it's hard to tell where steps are coming from anyway.
Yeah.
Especially if you have a 5-man that breaks off a lot.
Um.
So
Also, when considering you're going in, gotta kind of consider your gonna be like your, I guess you could say, average engagement distance. Okay, so if you're going to shoreline, you immediately think long range. Okay, I'm gonna grab something
yep.
with some punch and some long range. You know, maybe even a bolt action if I'm feeling squirrely. But what if your task is taking it into resort? You don't really want to be taking a scoped Mosin into resort. Like that's not something you want to do. It means you either have to overgear and take in 2 weapons, or you just put that Mosin back into the stash.
Yep. And take like a AKM or something where you can single fire or full auto. You can put like a 1x and 4x scope on it, so you still have that 1x option.
Yeah.
And you can
Grenades
kind of
too.
engage in
Like
all ranges.
grenades are okay outside, but they really excel when you're in that tight
Yep.
tunnels and door rooms. Um, Smoke is kind
I,
of
I
a
never
meme at
even
this point, so don't even bother that.
I never even take grenades into woods. I'll
I
take
see.
I'll take flashbangs
Yeah,
just because if we're fighting a scav and he goes prone, it's nice to have something to throw at him to get him to pop back up.
that is true. I never even thought of it that way because usually I'm like flashbangs don't belong outside.
Yeah.
But I suppose if you're trying to make a scav pop up, that actually is a pretty good little thing you could do.
Yeah, it ups the strength stat a little bit and gets
Yeah.
a scav to pop up sometimes because it's been happening to me a lot where a scav will drop shot, will go prone and start shooting.
Oh yeah.
And in woods, when they go prone, you're in, like waist high grass, and it's like you can't see them, but they can clearly see you.
Yeah, you got no idea what
Just
to do.
yep. The only option is to chuck a nade and hope they pop back up so you can shoot them.
Yep. Um. So gear. I mean, that's kind of covered basics in gear. I mean, armor, backpack, and helmet. You know, you kind of run what you got or what you like. I mean, if you want to do naked pistol runs for tasks, that's perfectly fine. You know, just
There is a
realize what
deciding
your
factor on
mileage.
backpack a little bit too. I have been doing interchange a lot more
Yeah.
without a backpack at all, just because that backpack extract behind Goshan's so sweet when you just need an easy, fast way out.
Yeah, and definitely look at your map. Like if you are fortunate enough to have the Red Rebel, you know, where you can use those alternate routes, or if you want to just not bring a backpack in, just so you know that you have that option, even though then you're kind of sacrificing the loot part of your run. I mean, that's stuff to consider. And speaking of that, so when you go into a raid, you got to figure out what you're prioritizing. Are you going in for a task? Are you going for loot? Or are you going for PvP? And what order is that? Like, for example, like we'll go into customs and we'll have tasks in dorms, and we're like, well, our spawn's not that far from dorms. Should we go right now? I mean, it's going to be kind of hot. We'll probably have PvP. Or, man, we just don't. Let's go to dorms late. You know, hopefully it's cleared out. So we'll go loot somewhere else, and then we'll come back to dorms when it's over. So that's prioritizing your PvP and putting it at the bottom of the list and saying, I don't want to necessarily run into other players right now.
Yeah. And as a rat, I never prioritize PvP unless it's part of a task. Like the Jaeger tasks where you have to kill PMCs, or the skier task where you gotta kill 7 USECs. Then I might go into factory with the specific intent and taking best weapon, best ammo, and class 4 or 5 armor, just for that task. But typically I'm all about the loot and the late dorms, late resort type raids where you're not in there. You wait till the heat dies down a bit and then pick over the leftovers.
Yeah, what's really stinks for me is like when I'm playing with a group and I've got a task on a map, and we spawn in and we're really close to a nice juicy loot spot that's taking us this way, but my task is that way. And so then I'm like, hey guys, we need to go this way. Like, I know.
And typically, like in our 5-man, me and you aren't typically geared for PvP.
Yeah, but that's because I like shotguns.
Yeah. Well, and I've been running Jaeger quests where I have to kill scouts with a optic Mosin. So
yeah.
I'm running just a Mosin.
I'm just not really feeling like the high rate of fire weapons right now.
Yeah.
Just not. I don't know. Maybe I get a little bit more stuff unlocked. I'll go back to them. But you're right though. I'm not usually
easier access to ammo.
Yeah, it's an ammo thing for me. It really is. When it boils down to it.
I just don't like. I can run an AKM twice, and I will have no good ammo after that.
Yeah.
And then I'm done for like a week until I can scrounge some more.
I mean, we could buy it, but then you're just wasting rubles.
Yeah. I don't fire a bullet that's over about 700 rubles. I mean, and the only time I fire 700 ruble bullets is when I'm firing like 7N1 out of a Mosin, and I only need like 15 rounds.
So figure out on your scale where your tasks are versus loot and PvP. I mean, if you can go into a raid saying, I just want to get better at PvP. And I did that a lot actually at the end of the last wipe. Or like I would go into reserve and it wasn't a task, but I'm like, I want to go fight raiders. Like, that's what I want to do today, Or like, we're going to kill Sanitar. Granted, that was for a task, but still wanted to kill that dude.
Yep.
So go in with a plan. When you run the same map over and over again, you can kind of get your base routes down, but really kind of figure out like where your first stop is on a map and then where you kind of want to go from there. So like a good example of that deploying with a plan is so on Shoreline, when we spawn Road to Customs, we go to the caches at radio, and then we slow roll it up to weather, and then we usually go to power. That's just the way we do it. Like almost every time.
From power, we decide whether we cut south to gas, or do we want to do late resort, or do we want to just cross and go to cottages, tunnel?
Yeah. So like we have a plan. The only time that plan changes right away is like when we're specifically have something weird to do, like the downed drones, because the one down drone is all the way back across the bridge by Rock Passage. Or not Rock Passage. Yeah, is that Rock Passage? Back there?
Yeah, one of them's back behind, kind of by Rock Passage, yeah.
Yeah.
That behind that tank
Yep.
bunker.
Behind the tank bunker. So like that is really out of your way. So you might change your path.
Yep.
So kind of need to know where you need to go, if that makes any sense.
See, and I've been running more and more where I just have a path in mind, and if I don't spawn at that path, I know the maps well enough to where I can kind of cut into that path pretty early. And I
Yeah.
still kind of run the same route.
Yeah. Like, and sometimes, instead of having a path in mind, you just, okay, how do I get out of this spot of the map to where I can get someplace where I can plan my path, you know?
Or
Like
how do
when
I
you,
get, maybe you just need to get to one spot. And then depending where you spawn, you need to take time to figure out how you're going to get to that spot.
mm-hmm.
You plan those routes ahead, like, oh, if I spawn here, I'm going this way. If I spawn here, I'm going this way, and have like 4 different contingency plans? Or you just be like, this is where I need to go. I'll figure it out once I spawn in where I'm at.
Like on customs, if you have to get that stupid train car that's by like the ZBs, you know, if you have to get that train car, but you spawned all the way back over at Crossroads, man, you got a lot of ways you can get there. You know, you can go. I mean, just getting out of the big red side alone is like so many options and paths. It's annoying as almost.
So do you think it's better to commit to a route in that situation? Like, you spawn Crossroads, you got to get to that train car. Do you just be like, okay, I'm taking this route? Or do you kind of just feel the map and listen for gunshots and adjust?
I can definitely see where you listen for gunshots. Um, like uh, everybody has their tendencies. Like I like going down Big Lamb Bridge a lot. Everybody does, but I have no problems going over Main Bridge. Some people avoid Main Bridge like the plague, which is really weird to me, since it's actually a really defensible spot.
It
You know,
feels exposed when you're looking at it from the outside, but once you're on it, you realize how much cover is up there.
yeah. Like I don't really have any uncomfortable path for me on customs. Um, when I'm trying to get though straight across the other side of the map, I don't always like going to the meth house, crack house side because a lot of traffic comes through there, and obviously dorms is dorms, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of in that middle construction area, even just down the road sometimes, even heading towards gas, and then figure out where you're gonna cut over eventually. But
See, I prefer where I like. Typically, I'll pick a path if I'm running solo, um, and then I'll just deal with whatever happens on that path. If there's gunfire ahead of me, I'll just kind of try to hide and wait for it to pass, or maybe I'll engage, but I stick to my pathing.
so I had a
I
play.
feel like
Yeah.
I feel like the more you try to adjust to the map, the more you end up running into other unforeseen things. Like, you're running away from one fight, probably running straight into another.
So I had a couple games last wipe that I actually had a play style that I joked around and said I'm playing like a coyote. And it was like I'm not playing as a rat because I'm not like hiding. So what I would do is there's these guys that spawn in front of me on customs. Like they probably spawned closer to Big Red and I spawned all the way in the back. And I could hear them killing scavs. And so I followed them. Like I actually caught a glimpses of them a couple of times. They got into a fight at gas station and stuff, and I would let them clear out an area, then I would come in behind them and get the scraps, you know?
Yep.
So I was the coyote, the little scavenger coming on through.
Well, we're not
And
renaming the show to Coyote Radio.
no. But I mean it was a rat. It was basically being a rat,
Yeah.
but I called it the coyote because I kept following like the predators around,
Yep.
getting the stuff
That's
that
pretty
way.
funny.
Um so that kind of covers the deploying with a plan. I mean, figure out what gear you need to do. And then prioritize your tasks, loot and PvP the way you want to, you know?
Hmm.
Don't just go into a map willy-nilly. Like, you should probably have a plan.
Yeah, make sure you know what your main objective is and gear accordingly. And then
Yep.
if you have an opportunity for a secondary objective, like, make sure you have the gear to tackle that as well. Like, make sure you have markers if you could get a
Oh,
marker
yeah.
done while you're doing some other task. But yeah, have a main objective. Make sure you know how you plan to attain that objective, and then plan your routing accordingly once you know where you've spawned.
Mm-hmm. Um, so I think we should just move on to some more general stuff that we've like to talk about. Like, what have you been using lately in Tarkov? Like, what is there anything you've been like favoring the last week or two? Like, how long has it been since we did the last episode? Has there anything you switched over to?
So last wipe, I really liked the 366 AP. Just because it packs a mean punch, and with the VPO 309 or 209,
209. Yep.
you get that 30 round semi-auto, and it's pretty devastating when you're fighting scabs. This wipe, I'm finding I'm running into a lot more players. And like a lot of the pathing has changed. Players are in places, we kind of talked about this last episode, but players are in places they weren't last wipe. So I'm feeling like the 366 AP isn't as reliable. So I've been using a lot more submachine guns I like, and like the big like Mosins and anything that can fire like a 7 and 1 round. So that round will hit PMCs and scabs pretty hard either way.
Yeah, it is a nice little round. So you bring a lot of bolt actions, half because you need that quest. Have you,
I
if
was
you
running
had
bolt
to,
actions even before that quest.
do you
But
feel like you feel like it's easier to run bolt actions in the large party that we are usually? Like, do you run it as much solo?
um solo not so much. Solo I'll either take, I've been pistoling a lot just because most of the time when I'm solo I'm on my laptop. And if I do solo on my desktop, it's either I take a weapon for the quest I'm on, which right now is like Jaeger quest, so I'm taking a bolt action. Or like if I know I'm killing scavs, then I will take that 366 AP with
Okay.
VPO 209 because I know I can one tap a scav in the chest if they're not armored. Um, yeah, I just kind of take whatever takes up the most space in my stash. I've been taking ADARs a lot because I have two ADARs that keep coming back, and you can't break down an ADAR into a one by very easily,
Yeah, I get
like a 1x5.
too much crap off of it, and then you have all this stuff
Yeah,
lying
just
around.
random stuff. So I always use my ADARs. Like if I don't know what to take, I'll grab an ADAR just to get it out of my stash. And then the same with the big shotgun, the
153.
153. Yep. I got two of those that keep coming back, and I'll load it up with buckshot and throw it on my
Yep.
PMC because I don't have I don't have a spot in my stash to stick them
Yeah,
that long.
I have been running a stupid amount of shotguns in the last week and a half. Like, it first started with this random 153 shotgun that I found that had a pistol grip and an 8 round already. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna run this till I lose it. And literally, I ran it for a day and a half before I died, and then it came back. So I ran it for another entire day. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of liking this, And I had Jaeger. Was it Jaeger 2 that you need for the buckshot? I can't remember. But I have the Jaeger
Yeah.
level where I need, so I can buy the buckshot 200 at a pop. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna run shotguns for now. And there's been a couple of times where I'm like trying to get the shotgun to reach a little farther than it should, and that's gotten me in trouble. But for the most part, the shotgun has been just awesome this wipe. Like, I don't know if, I mean, it hasn't been too many crazy kills with it. Usually have to put a couple shots into them, but I know it's just been like messing people up, and it's been getting me some kills. I did run the KS-23, another big boy shotgun. That was a lot of fun. Basically, that's just Magnum Buck on crack for the Shrapnel 10. Um, Normally when I run shotguns, I like the pumps just because of the animation and the sound, but I really gave the M153 a chance, and now I'm like, yeah, I don't know why I was gimping myself with that.
Yeah. Pump actions are cool. I actually ran Mossbergs early in the wipe
Yeah.
just because they were fun, and that Magnum Buck was really potent that first week. And then it was like I started losing fights. I'm like, okay, I can't deal with the pump anymore. I need something that's full semi-auto like the 153 or the Saiga 12. And those are really good for about a week. And then
Yeah.
people started wearing too much armor, and I'm not
See,
good enough to head tap.
what's weird is like, okay, so people wore a ton of armor early on. I almost feel like the now that all this the stimulus, all like the free stuff, like the Twitch drops and the Christmas gift, I think it might be wearing off.
I think so too. I have
Um,
been seeing a lot more people running like cheaper guns.
yeah, so it's almost like the gear fear is coming back a little bit now that people are like,
Yeah,
oh, blew through
they're
all of their
not
stuff.
flooded with stuff.
I mean, still BP ammo is still everywhere though. Like that's not changed at all.
I think that's slowing down too. I've been seeing a lot more PS ammo
Yeah.
for the 7.62. I know I'm
Um,
out of BP. I have like 2 stacks of BP left.
I have a little bit left. I sold a bunch of it though, just to I don't want to use those guns. Now I told myself this wipe I want to try to only use AKs when it forces me to, because I used them way too much last wipe. I want to try the other half of Tarkov.
I was using SKSs quite a bit this wipe, just because I had that BP ammo.
Yeah, it
But
was
that's
hard
kind of
not
died
to.
off in the last week.
Like, how could you not grab an SKS and a handful of BP? I mean,
Yeah, it was
it
just
changed the
so
game.
easy. You didn't need to worry about attack rig. You could just
Yeah.
top load it, and yeah, it was. I
Um,
did run a lot of SKSs for a while.
I've bought some armors off the flea, but now I'm just running that one from level 2 Ragman, the armored rig, the level 4.
Yep.
Yep, the 50 some
Um,
thousand one. I've just been running that. Because I've been running
6P13
shotguns.
or whatever.
Yeah, I've been running shotguns, so I don't need that much space. And those come back decent amount,
I have
anyways.
I think 4 of those that I've been cycling through, and then like a couple of Ulis, the other class 4, and then um whatever comes back in insurance. I still have like 2 press armors that just won't die. They just they keep coming back full. Like I don't even have to repair them.
Yeah,
So I keep throwing them on when we're in like the 5-man, because if we're in a 5-man, I don't want to take my best gear because it's just chaos sometimes in the
yeah,
5-man. I feel like I don't want to risk my best gear when there's a chance that we're just going to get either anything we encounter is going to get rolled by the 5-man, or if we do start dropping, armor's 1/5 of
yeah.
a team isn't going to matter.
One thing I started doing this wipe, um, and this was before they changed the heavy bleed, so IFAX could do it. I was running 2 IFAX in my gamma, and this was before they did the heavy bleed thing, because I was getting so irritated that, all right, I can CMS kit everything up, I can splint everything up, I can stop all my bleeds, and then I don't have enough healing on me to get all these limbs back to full. And so I said, screw it. I can make these IFACs. They're actually not hard to make. They're pretty effective. And 2 of them, that's 600 points of healing. That's way more than a car kit, way more than a Salevo, which costs way more. And and there are 2 single slots, so I can move them around. And then, lo and behold, the IFACs now can stop a heavy, although they use up like the majority of it when they do.
Yeah, it's basically
So
an expensive tourniquet at that point.
yeah, so I'm like starting to not run A2s anymore, and now I'm starting to run like 2 IFACs in the gamma, 1 IFAC on the bar. I still run the heavy bandage and the tourniquets though.
Yeah. See, I only run the AI2s when I'm pistol running. If I need some like cheap meds, I'll throw on an AI2, an army bandage, and a tourniquet, and that'd be my pretty much my
I've
only
been running
meds.
2 tourniquets, and I'm constantly getting the 3rd heavy bleed. It's
Really?
really annoying.
See, if I'm gonna run more than one, um, like I only take a tourniquet if I don't plan on fighting anything. Like if I'm just going in for a quest item or something and just want to avoid fighting scavs, avoid fighting PMCs, then I'll take a tourniquet just so I can quick hit that
Mm-hmm.
heavy bleed and get to a safe spot where I can use my Salewa. But if I plan to take on like multiple scavs or potentially PMCs, I always take the hemostat or whatever, just so I
I'm
have
literally
those
like
3.
3,000 experience from 20.
That's right, you're not quite there.
Yes, I am still sub 20. So, I am the rat here.
I've just been tasking hard pistol running. Like
I
I've
know.
probably made more experience pistol running than I have running kits.
I'm
This
like
wipe.
this out of our extended play group. I have probably the second lowest playtime right now. And it's not like I don't play. Like, it's just everyone's
Yeah.
been playing so much more than me. And one disadvantage of our 5-man is sometimes getting a lot of experience can be tough. It really can be.
Everything gets so split up, and two of the guys we play with are so aggressive and so like in front of the group all the time that it makes it hard for us more
So if they're
ratty
both
players
on,
to
literally,
keep up.
yeah, if they're both on, like, they are getting almost every scout kill. We have to, like, I'm getting most of my experience from loot.
Yep.
You know?
I can guarantee if we're playing with our full 5-man, I am losing kit, money, and not gaining a lot of experience that night.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a lot of fun. I'll probably get some quests and stuff done, but...
And there's those occasional games where those two guys die, and then
then we just rat around for the rest of the raid.
Yeah. I remember the KS-23 clip I actually put up on is when it was you and me and Tyler left, and Tyler died, unfortunately. But what you guys didn't see was our other two party members, the aggressive guys, Chris and Kev, they ran up first.
Which made that clip especially funny because our two PvPers died in PvP, and then we mopped up, well, mostly you mopped up the rest of the PMCs.
Yeah. So before we get off, do you have any like crazy moments you want to talk about?
Yeah, I had a really wild run earlier today. First time I've ever killed Killa. But it kind of goes back to planning your path. Earlier, I was planning on planting the Wi-Fi camera in Brutal for, I forget what the task is called. I think it's Informed Means Armed or something like that.
Yeah.
My plan all along was to go up that spiral junk staircase in the back of Goshan and go through Goshan into the mall, because then you kind of come out right by Kiba.
Yep.
And you have to plant the camera right across. And I feel like last swipe I did it from the front of the mall. I came through the front entrance up the stairs. But I feel like you can't see that hallway until you're like engaged. Coming from the Goshan side, you have a much better view, but you're also much more exposed. But so I come through Goshan. I spawned at Power, which was an awful spawn for this. But I went through the garages, got lost in the garages for a minute because I always get lost in the garages, and then finally found my way to the staircase. Went up into Goshan, through Goshan, and I'm just coming into the mall, and I see this scav. I'm like, oh, there's a scav over there. I pull up my pistol. I was pistol running it. Pull up my pistol, aim for the head, just pull the trigger once. He goes down. I'm like, oh, sweet. You know, I typically can't one-tap scavs at that range, but with a pistol, but I got him. I was like, oh, that was awesome. So I'm creeping up, you know, looking down the hallways, don't see anything, don't see Killa. I'm always freaked out about Killa because he's always sitting on that
Mall cop.
camera spot. So I go in, plant my camera. I'm like, oh, I should go loot that scav. And I come around the corner, click on the scav. I see Killa armor and the big Alton face shield. I'm like, did I just one-tap Killa? So I grab his crap. I'm in panic mode at this point because I have all Killa's stuff, and I hear footsteps all around me. The minute I pop up, a scav comes around the corner, and I hadn't changed to Killa's AKM yet, so I still had my pistol out, so I had to pistol another scav. Come around the corner, switch to Killa's gun, and then I had to kill another scav trying to get back into Goshan. And then I just basically sprinted through Goshan down those steps, and I didn't bring in a backpack because it was a pistol run and I was planting a camera. I didn't even plan on leaving with gear. But yeah, so I ran to the backpack extract and just got out. It was nuts. I had like 6,000 experience for I think it was like an 8-minute raid.
And so you didn't just kill Killa, you one-tapped Killa with a
pistol.
With a pistol.
Yep.
Which is
I'm almost wondering if
no one's gonna
somebody
believe
didn't
you.
try fighting him earlier.
Maybe. Like, did the durability go away on the helmet or something? Because like you sent me pictures.
Yeah, the helmet was at like 30 durability when I got it.
Okay.
And the armor was like at like a third.
Okay, so someone definitely.
Yeah, so I'm thinking somebody was like fighting Killa and either died to him or gave up on the fight. And then I just come up. He looked like a normal scav at the range I was at. Like I was at the entrance of Goshan still, and he was in Brutal.
So
like,
down
across
there,
the hall from Kiba. Yeah, he was down there a ways. And yeah, I fired the one shot. And I heard the scav call as soon as he turned and saw me. I heard the scav call. I shot. I'm like, oh, good, it
dang.
wasn't Killa. Like, if it was Killa, I would have been dead because, well, that was my thought process. If that was Killa, I'd be dead because one tap isn't going to kill him, and he's going to turn and mow me down.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, it was just a regular scav. I go up and plant my camera. I didn't even think anything of it. I almost left without looting him. Because I'm like, oh, I got the camera placed. I should go, find some loot. And I'm like, oh yeah, I should loot that scav quick. I go, it's Killa. It was nuts.
Oh, so do you remember the 5-man scav raid that we had on reserve, where half of you guys died like right away? Okay, so we all spawn into reserve. You guys spawn over kind of close to like the northeastern side of the bunkers, and me and
Yep.
Kevin spawned right behind Train Depot.
Yep.
Okay.
This was just the recent one, right?
Yep. This was literally last.
Yep.
Was this last night?
Yeah, I think it was last night.
And I mean, it was a really kind of crap raid because you guys died right away to a PMC that had no business being where he was. But Kevin did kill that PMC. In the process, broke both of his legs. And I'm like, so I'm over there. I'm like, oh, checking out, looking at the loot and stuff. And we're in the barbed wire alleyway behind the railroad. And I'm calling Kev Hobbles at this point because he has 2 broken legs, no painkillers, no splints. And all of a sudden, this PMC just comes sprinting through frickin' all the way through railroad into those barbed wires. And we're like, crap, so we start fighting him back, and the guy's got an M4, and he's dancing back and forth, and Kevin's like, dodging. I'm like, I've got 7mm buckshot, or 7mm buckshot, I'm just firing away. The guy goes prone, and we finally get him, and we're like, wow, that was crazy. We go up to him, he was a level 1. He's a poor little level 1. It's like, oh no, baby's first M4. It was just like one of those things where like, man, it just felt so bad. So we actually ditched his stuff. Like, we actually went out of our way, broken legs and all, to ditch his gear. Like, it was just one of those things where you're just laughing after it happens. Like, well, this poor little bugger, had to put him down. But
did you get offline before that raid ended?
No, I don't think so. I got out before Kevin did, though.
Yeah.
He went and killed raiders.
Yeah. He killed like a crap ton of raiders and a bunch of scavs and still made it out.
Oh, it's crazy.
2 broken legs.
2 broken legs. Yeah.
He was looking for like pain meds the whole time, and then he just got to a point where he was like, I'm just gonna have to hobble it because I'm not finding. He killed like 6 people, I think, and like couldn't find any like meds at all.
Oh,
and he just
crazy.
hobbled out. Yeah, that poor level 1 guy.
Yeah. And he took a M4 out as a level 1, and I'm like, oh man. Like, I wanted to send him a message like, we ditched your M4, buddy. Like,
do you get the M4 as a standard account?
Yeah.
Or was he Edge of Darkness?
Oh, I don't know about. I actually don't know about that. No, not a clue. If you're watching, Dappa, that's what it was. We ditched your stuff, except your backpack. I kept that, but it's just. Well, I think that is going to be it for us for Rat Radio, the 2nd episode. We're gonna try to do these weekly, maybe.
Yeah, I think we're gonna try to get a weekly.
I mean, or
maybe
at least,
not this long, but yeah.
Yeah. So, we'll talk to you later. Thanks for stopping by. You can say something this time. I cut you off last time.
Yeah. Good luck in Tarkov.
Bye.